Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets'd podcast. Subway Series is finished. We won this one, of course, split 6-game series. 3 we win, 3 the Yankees win. You couldn't have asked for a better thing, so no one can complain and no one can get excited. No one can get upset. I don't know. It stinks losing game on Sunday, losing the 3rd game of the series after you really played really good baseball on Friday and Saturday against the Yankees. But tip the cap. It was a bullpen game. It was a lot of the backup guys trying to get outs against big hitters like Aaron Judge, and they were relatively successful. We're going to talk about everything that went on in this series, as well as give you some updates on the All-Star game and everything else going on in the Mets world. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel if you want to see the video version of this. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, subscribe, and follow us on all our social media on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Mets'd Up. James, you were not there on Sunday. Beautiful day, but really just a great weekend of baseball, honestly, objectively speaking.
Yeah, objectively speaking, they were 3 really fun games, and we lamented about this on the train episode. If you guys didn't catch the train episode, we recorded after the first 2 games of the series, so if you guys want pure, unvarnished joy and dancing on the Yankees, definitely go back and listen to that train episode that did come out Sunday afternoon. But funny that the first time these teams met back in May in Yankee Stadium, a couple nationally televised games, and while it was good, clean, mostly baseball, objectively some pretty boring baseball where not a lot happened, not a lot of runs were scored, not a lot of tense moments. Where between these 3 games, there was clutch plays, there were fireworks, there was good defensive plays, there was bad defensive plays, there was an ejection, there was a lot of just hoopla back and forth. Like there was a lot of fun things that happened every single one of these games. But it was both these teams came to the series not totally reeling, because the Mets weren't reeling, I think, after beating the Brewers, but still in the spot where like you had tenuous momentum. You were still worried about being able to build. The Yankees came into this reeling coming off a 4-game sweep at the hands of the first place Toronto Blue Jays. And I think the Mets were actually kind of able to ride the Yankees' negative momentum to wins in those first 2 games. And then the baseball guys just kind of made everything even in the game on Sunday. But again, what was a fun, competitive, exciting series from literally the first pitch of the first game until the last pitch of the last game.
Well, let's talk about that first game. Let's go into Friday. It was the ace-off, of course, Justin Hagenman going up against Marcus Stroman, and it got started off insane at the beginning with back-to-back home runs by Jason Dominguez and then Aaron Judge in the first inning of that game. It was, I wasn't feeling great with Justin Hagenman on the mound, especially after seeing those first 2 home runs, those nukes that they hit. I texted you instantly. I was like, Hagenman, LOL. But he settled in really nicely after that.
Yeah, we had a nice argument about Hagenman because you were like, this guy's got nothing, get him out. And
I think he has nothing still.
I almost left that game being like mildly impressed by Hagenman to the point where he can, like between Hagenman and Waddell, it's like, I don't think it's like someone's really distinguished themselves in that dramatic Hagenman versus Waddell bulk inning race as the Mets struggle to get 5 guys in the rotation. But like what he was able to do with that cutter, kind of dotted a few times against the righties and use it to push lefties back off the plate inside on them. A few of them did wind up hanging over the middle. Some of them he was able to miss with, but the difference that he was able to get horizontal movement wise on that cutter and the changeup helped him against the lefties, and the righties who was just sinker, cutter. Like, I don't know. Justin Hagenman forcing 12 swings and misses against this Yankee lineup where they ambushed him with back-to-back home run to start the game, which one of them, he kind of got screwed. He should have had Jason Dominguez out. Jason Dominguez got a second life, hits a home run. And then Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. No big deal there. But it's just the one thing we wanted Justin Hagenman to do on Friday was to give us a chance to win the game. At the end of the day, Justin Hagenman gave us a chance to win the game. So I tip my cap for that.
Yeah, no, he definitely gave us a chance to win. Like you said, rough start. I thought the changeup looked really good. That was the pitch to me that really stood out. And at the end of the day, like in the minors, he gave up a lot of home runs. If he continues to pitch at the major league level, he's going to give up a lot of home runs. The stuff is completely, like you said, I think acceptable. And some days you're going to catch him where he gets 12 swing and misses on the Yankees. There's going to be days where we maybe play like the Rockies and they absolutely light him up. I think that's kind of what you're going to get with Justin Hagenman. But he did an appropriately acceptable job filling in, giving us 4 2/3, I think, on Saturday or Friday, and then right to the bullpen. And that's when it really started to get crazy.
Yeah, but even before we got like to the pitching in the bullpen, this game did feel like it was like an oh brother kind of moment. Those 2 home runs off the bat, and the big moment in this game was the first inning, the punch back by the Mets and Juan Soto after Nimmo gets on to begin the game, and then Juan Soto hits the 2-run home run to his favorite spot in the field, what's becoming in center field, left center, and that was probably like an shit moment for the Yankees because it was like we got the 2-0 lead, we have their guy on the ropes who's again, barely a major league starter, but they had their own barely major league starter on their own, Mr. 89 miles an hour, Marcus Stroman. And for Soto to punch back, to get this game to 2-2 right off the bat, and then also put us in position to take the lead with his double in the 3rd inning, it's like, okay, nice. Like we're starting, this is what you want to happen. Like things don't go well. This is the player that drags you over the line.
I saw a good clip on Twitter going around of Soto hitting the home run off of Stroman, how a couple years ago when Stroman was on the Cubs and Soto was on the Padres, Stroman, like Soto shuffled on him around the mound after he got like one of those sinkers to kind of just like nick the inside corner of the plate. And Soto kind of stared at him, but like kind of like shook his head, like a little respect the game. He knows that. Like Soto knows he dances on people. He expects it back. So it was cool to see that little bit of a staring match there too when Soto hit the home run. Watched it, went around the bases though right after like a professional.
And you got the feel for the Yankees getting the news this weekend that Clark Schmidt will also be out for the year, Tommy John surgery, and probably next season. So the Yankees are staring at an entire second half of Marcus Stroman throwing 89 miles an hour.
Is he going to hit his vesting option?
For sure. Basically, yeah, he's going to pitch the rest of the season. What was
it? The worst thing that's going to happen to the Yankees.
Actually, maybe not. I'll check right now. I think it actually might have been 130 innings, which he would not hit. But I'm going to check right now while we talk about this more. But it was like, while Marcus Stroman had like absolutely nothing in this game, he is still able to just be so fucking like on the mound, just so pesky with that slurve over and over again. That's a pitch that was really good at inducing tons of weak contact and getting enough swings and misses when he needed them to splitter too. Like he pitched so carefully. In this game, there were like 4 or 5 total pitches he threw above the belt at all. In general. So
and they got smoked.
Yeah, 100%. But he still is able to be like pesky and annoying on the mound with that little stuff, even though him going from 93 miles an hour to 89 miles an hour has proverbially ended his Major League Baseball career. I don't think he gets another contract.
Yeah, the one thing in this series, too,
140 innings for that option, so I don't think
he's not going to get it. All right. But one thing I noticed in this series as well, not watching really many Yankee games play same time as the Mets, their bullpen's in trouble. They are in trouble with that bullpen because Ian Hamilton came in after Stroman. Again, 5 innings, 3 earned runs. If you're the Yankees, you shake Marcus Stroman's hand every time. Go take a shower. Great job. Thank you for keeping us in the game. Ian Hamilton came in. Brett Baty jumped all over him with a home run, which was fantastic, bringing us right back in the game after Austin Warren came in, who I still kind of like him out of the bullpen. I don't know what it is about Austin Warren, but does he have anything?
I mean, it's so many sliders. And like so many sliders, you can definitely get through a few batters. But eventually, and I think this did happen. Who hit the home run off him? It wasn't
Dominguez
Bellinger. Yeah, Dominguez again. But that was actually an opposite field home run. That wasn't even that bad of a shot. But I do believe it was it was a lefty left. No, it wasn't left sweeper. That was on the sinker. So I guess there is something. He does just throw a lot of sweepers. And you know how much we don't like the sweepers against left-handed batters. But in terms of a reliever who can come in and throw 5 different pitches to left-handed batters as right-handed reliever, like that's at least something to get you through. And again, we don't know who's going to wind up staying in this Mets bullpen over the next week, and then even week. Yeah, I don't even want to start talking about the month, but it's just at least we have enough guys to get us through something. But that sinker moves a ton. I think that's kind of the fun pitch for him. But when he can face righties, I'm so confident. I don't know about the lefties. It's just it was a miracle how the Mets were stayed in these games. The pitchers that were throwing most of the innings this series.
Yeah, no, it was insane. In a game where Justin Hagenman, Austin Warren, Huascar Brazoban, and then Reed Garrett gets a 2-inning save. Mets in the last couple weeks definitely don't win those games, but the comeback was fantastic. Luke Weaver came in the game, did not look comfortable from the start, and shout out to the Mets just ambushing him, jumping all over him was fantastic.
Also, shout out to me for the DraftKings player spotlight last week. So I said that this Yankee bullpen is full of all the right-handed changeups in the league. And I'm like, the Mets have a lot of good lefty hitters. I think these lefty hitters are going to have they're going to get a lot of changeups. I do think that we have a chance to hit them. And the Baty home run was a big-time one. That did come on a slider for me and Hamilton. I don't know why he wasn't
throwing the throw a slider, yeah.
He threw him 2 to start the at-bat, and the second one was right down the middle, and Baty crushed it. I guess that's the pitch he thought he could command the most, but that was a good home run to be like, jump back in this game, because the team didn't feel dead, but that was a good jolt of energy. And it was also nice to pile up on the Yankees this game, again, eventually with McNeil hitting the huge home run off of Luke Weaver and Reed Garrett. Yeah, hanging on. Because the Yankees got also screwed coming into this game. Like, I'm going to call a spade. Like, we're anti-schedule guys. The Yankees had to play a 7 p.m. game in Toronto in a 4-game series, and then take a flight to New York to play a day game.
Oh, their 45-minute flight. Oh, boo-hoo, Yankees.
Just say still to get on and get off a plane, get in late, and have a day game the next day. Like, that was I thought that was crazy scheduling for the Yankees.
I agree with you, too. I can take my bias cap off. Like, that's insane that Major League Baseball didn't do that. That being said, thank you. Glad. I feel like it's always us that's doing it. So I'm glad the Blue Jays were like, nope, 7 o'clock game. How about that?
Yeah, and again, just big respect as always on the Mets'd podcast bestowed upon Jeff McNei for being the guy that's like steadying the bottom half of this lineup. Tons of clutch moments this season, becoming a power hitter. Mike Petriello had a great tweet that since McNeil hit that home run off Paul Skeens almost exactly a year ago this week, that he's told them, he's like, I'm done being a singles hitter. It's like, I'm going for power now. And since that happened, 365 days, Jeff McNeil's the top 25 hitter in all of baseball in terms of WRC+.
I mean, yeah, that's in the years where he was good. Remember, it was like Jeff McNeil, you look back, you're like 130 WRC plus, like holy crap, he was like one of the most valuable hitters in Major League Baseball in terms of run production. And even this year, 260 average, 348 on base, 829 OPS, 9 homers, 29 RBIs. He's playing such good baseball. I expect apologies from all the Mets fans out there who all offseason long, we got to trade Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil's a problem. We don't need him on this team. We've got Luis Angel Acuna. We got Ronny Mauricio. We got these guys. Mets are not nearly as good as they are this season without Jeff McNeil. He's been incredibly valuable. There was a debate where he could have been an all-star possibly this year.
AJ, we're in Vegas right now, and I have not had a lot of time to eat during the day. So
no.
What could we do?
I would love a Huel right now. Vanilla Huel would go down perfectly because when I have to skip meals because I'm too busy doing what you do in Vegas, which is not eat, I need a quick replacement, and Huel is the perfect thing.
I'm a chocolate guy myself. It's got the chocolate milkshake vibes to it. If you miss a meal, Huel can be your answer. If you're looking for a big protein boost, Huel can be your answer. So go check it out. Our friends at Huel are part of today's sponsorship. They've got you covered, spelled Huel. That black edition is a complete meal to feel full, focused, and ready for your day. Little prep, basically no prep. Shake it, open it. Huel has sold over 500 million meals around the world, and now it's your turn to try it. So go to Huel.com/foul and get Huel today with the exclusive offer for the FT fam of 15% off for new customers if you use the code, you know it, FOUL, minimum $75 purchase. Get after it.
Yeah, I think he actually might get a nod if someone winds up dropping out of this game in terms of but mostly because of how weak second base is across baseball. But again, after those first four, there's been problems all season long. And Jeff McNeil's been the one guy that's steady. Another guy that we were telling you guys to express some patience with, Reed Garrett. Garrett coming to this game, big balls, getting 6 outs, only facing 7 batters, stranding Aaron Judge in the on-deck circle in the one-run game to end the game. Because if there were 2 base runners that got on during those last 2 innings, Aaron Judge gets in that bat. I don't want Aaron Judge to ever get in that bat. Also, shout out for Jeff McNeil for the great diving play and DJ LeMahieu.
How did he make that? How did he get over there, too? Was DJ LeMahieu running in quicksand? Is he the slowest human being? The Yankees are a slow baseball team.
Yeah, they're a slow, unathletic baseball team, bad on defense besides on Sunday. We did see a lot of the flaws that Yankee fans talk about all the time in this 3-game series, especially those 2 games on Friday and Saturday. But this is why you kind of have to express patience to these relievers. There's so many little tiny tinkers that can change everything. And with Reed Garrett, the swing and miss rate was still there. The velocity was still there. The movement was still there. It all seemed fine. And the thing that he went back to in this appearance, was just being like, fuck it. I'm throwing sinkers. I'm throwing strikes. I'm not letting you guys get ahead of me. Once I get strike 1, then I can really build all the off-speed stuff off that sinker. So him trusting that pitch and going with it, letting that lead the way, and then having everything else play off it. It wasn't like an old school Reed Garrett, like I'm striking out the side appearance here. Because I think he also knew it was it might have been 2 out things. I think everyone knew that. Yeah. Edwin Diaz was unavailable. When he came back in after that 8th inning, he had a real pump up speech from Carlos Mendoza. And he was kind of pacing the dugout, kind of staying hot. But it was only 2 swings and misses, and it was no strikeouts if I remember correctly. But it was plenty of ground balls. Nothing really hit that solidly. And that was a nice way to end this game and lock in this win, get that 3-game win streak, and get one to start this series. When the Yankees were up 2-0 the first 2 batters of the game.
And I was like, oh boy, this feels like this is going to be a long game. And also, shout out Huáscar Brazoban. As bad as he had been, similarly to Reed Garrett, patience, and he's totally back. He looks amazing again.
He didn't look that good on Sunday.
Well, it wasn't his fault on Sunday with what happened.
No, not totally. Again, we'll get there in a second. But talk about Saturday's game. Oh, also, I think before we do, I want to shout out Joey Chestnut returning to Nathan's hot dog eating contest. The greatest athlete any of us have ever been on the world at the same time as. It's Joey Chestnut, it's LeBron James, it's Tom Brady. That's the trio for the athletes of our generation.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, that's basically it right there. And it's just him going back there, 70 dogs. That's a legend.
Yeah, that's a disgusting amount of hot dogs. You think how many years do you think it takes you to eat 70 hot dogs? You personally?
Oh, 10?
You think you eat 7 a year?
I think I eat the conservative 7 hot dogs a year, 5 to 10 hot dogs a year on average.
That's it's aggressive. I was thinking more like I'm having I think 15 hot dogs a year, 15 to 20 probably.
I heard Joey on a podcast say that he does full practice runs where he will put down. He said his best practice round ever, he put down 84.
Practice running. Pounding hot dogs in 10
contest.
minutes sounds like the worst punishment I could ever think of.
And apparently every year in New York City, 4th of July, he goes out after the hot dog eating contest. He says he kind of goes in, let his body recover, which I think just means sitting on the toilet and shitting for 4 hours straight. But he said after the fireworks, he will always he says he goes to He leaves, he goes to a bar, and he time travels, and he wakes up usually the next day in Good Morning America.
Nice.
So I think Joe Chestnut's a dude, but that was just great to see Joey back there in his rightful place atop the national leading world.
Bring some heat back to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest out in Coney Island. But yeah, let's talk about Saturday's game. Shout out the Yankees. Jason Dominguez didn't lead off in this game despite hitting 2 home runs and being one of the Yankees' best hitters this season. They said, Dominguez, how about you hit 6 today? Hit you way back in the order, despite Frankie Montas being a righty who throws a ton of fastballs on the mound. Feels like a great matchup for Dominguez.
Yeah, it was a great interview a couple of weeks ago, maybe like a month ago now, by our guys at Foul Territory with Clint Frazier, the eternal Yankee, still in the trade deadline proposal as we move up to the trade deadline now, where he basically said that the Yankees are, I mean, he didn't play for every team in the league, but I think he played for 3, and he just said it felt like the Yankees were very robotic in their handling of him, players in general, lineup decisions, things like that, because they didn't believe in players getting hot. They're all very projected out, statistical modeling, all that stuff, which that's neither here nor there. But in a game like this,
I think not believing in players getting hot is stupid. I think that's like one of the dumbest things ever. I think you got to ride the hot hand. Like they've even done it a couple times this year where Volpe went through that vicious stretch where he was horrible, and then he finally had that breakout game. They're like, scheduled
Next
off day tomorrow, sit him, and then he went ice cold again. I'm like, you got to play the guy when he's hot. Like playing the sport itself, it doesn't matter what level. Like when you are locked in like that, that's a feeling. You're hot. Half the game's mental, and just being mentally like confident and being good, feeling good, that helps a ton as well.
90% of the game is mental, and the other 50% is physical.
Yummy.
But this is also, even just peel it back further than like trying to dunk on the Yankees for things they do or don't do.
Sure.
The Yankees have so few players in this lineup that are like young players, tons of team control with like tons of potential they could really hang their hats on. And the fact that in a game where you're facing a right-handed pitcher one day and a right-handed pitcher the next day, Jason Dominguez coming into the series only hit leadoff 1 time all season. So for some reason, they felt something for the Friday game to put him leadoff. And again, he delivers, hitting 2 home runs, stealing a base, like being the engine that drives your team for most of that game. Again, making the last out with Aaron Judge on deck. That's neither here nor there. But then the next day, you replace him and put Trent Grisham back in that leadoff spot. Trent Grisham's a guy who's going to be on this team only next year. I do know Trent Grisham this year has been better than Dominguez, but Dominguez also hasn't been bad either. Like Dominguez has had a very good season at the plate specifically. So just weird to me that the Yankees would tinker so much with the most prized young player that they have by far on this roster.
I mean, their defensive positioning is also insane too. The fact that Jazz openly now has a shoulder injury, I believe, and they're like, what if you make a more difficult throw from third base and second base? So a position that they wanted him to play all this time to second base. Why can't Oswald Peraza or DJ LeMahieu play third and you put Jazz at second? That is weird.
LeMahieu can't play third.
Whatever. He sucks anyway.
He
shouldn't be on the team anyway. But the other guys, it's like they DH Ben Rice in this game, played Cody Bellinger at first, put Dominguez in left. Dominguez is horrible in the outfield. Terrible, terrible outfielder defensively. Why would you not DH Dominguez, put Rice at first, Bellinger in left field? We saw what he did on Sunday. He makes an impact with his glove out in the outfield, Bellinger. You would think you would want him in a much more valuable position than first base defensively. Some of the decision-making that goes on with this Yankees team, and it's been something I've talked about for a while, Aaron Boone gets way too much credit. He gets way too much slack. He's a horrible manager. I stand on that. I think he's absolutely terrible. And I do think, I know you don't like this one either, I think Brian Cashman's overrated as well as a general manager guy. It's been years since they've been the Yankees. They're starting to get closer to it now, but it's been years since they've truly been the Yankees. And some of the decision-making, we know that Aaron Boone is a pawn. If I'm going to give Aaron Boone some crap for the decisions, it's probably because Brian Cashman's the one truthfully making them.
Yeah, not untrue there. I give Brian Cashman a lot of credit because every single year this team gets very close to winning, and that's all you can do as an executive. But also, when you talk about Bellinger positioning in this game, the day before Friday, he plays center field.
Yeah.
So you clearly value his defensive acumen as an outfielder. If you think of highly enough of him to put him in center field with a right-handed pitcher on the mound when Trent Grisham, a left-handed batter, is your usually everyday center fielder because how good he's been this year on both sides of the ball, and he's off that day. So again, just very strange things, but like happy all these strange things happen.
Super happy.
It opened the door for the Mets. The Mets jumped on Carlos Rodon in the first inning. Carlos Rodon, my dad was talking a lot of shit about him before the game. We were hanging out center field.
Walks bet for me again. First plate appearance walk bets have been smacking for me.
And as good as Rodon's been this season, and this was credit to my dad for this take, just when something goes wrong with him, everything seems to go wrong quickly. Like he's not able to kind of shrug things off. And with some bad defensive plays, with some strange moments, with some strange calls, you can see him wear all of that on his sleeve. You can see the body language. You can see him kind of sulking. He kind of put his arms up to Dominguez for one of the bad plays he made in the outfield. I think that was on the Ronny double or Lindor. Something happened later, a couple innings later in this game. That was before Ronny. But just like you could see that he was kind of not able to shoulder the load and be the stopper the Yankees needed, especially because he gave up a grand slam in the first inning after they had a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah, we were like, Marte is leading off again. We're doing this. We're having this issue. And then Brandon Nimmo comes up, bases loaded, grand slam. Carlos Mendoza masterclass. I will say this entire series, I felt like Carlos Mendoza did a phenomenal job from the managerial side. When he pinch hit Ronny Mauricio against Scott Efros early in this game, that was a really savvy move. In Sunday, we saw him go Mauricio and Baty back-to-back pinch hits. Once they took out Max Fried from the game, that was another savvy, smart move. Use your bench. You have those guys there. I think he did a really good job this series handling the pitching, the lineup, everything top to bottom.
Yeah, the chaos that the Mets came into the series with, I do think Mendoza handled it very well. There was one decision I did take exception with, and that was, as we just kind of jump around this game, leaving Frankie Montas in this game in the sixth inning to face Cody Bellinger, because the Yankees, and we talked about this in the trade episode a little bit, the Yankees gave you a gift with the way they organized this lineup against Montas. I'll break him down in a second, but he doesn't have the best control or mastery of his breaking stuff right now. He's fastball Frankie, he's Dominican Lance Lynn, and the Yankees give you a gift where you have Cody Bellinger, Ben Rice, Jazz Chisholm, Jason Dominguez, 3 through 6 in the lineup. Bellinger's a lefty, much worse against lefties. Ben Rice a lefty, good amount worse against lefties. Jazz Chisholm is a lefty, a little bit worse against lefties, and then Jason Dominguez is a much, much, much better hitter as lefty against righties than righty against lefties. So when this happens in the 6th inning, there's some dinks and doinks, some well-placed ground balls, some kind of bullshit that lets the Yankees get 2 guys on for Aaron Judge. And that was when Mark Vientos had the biggest brain fart I've almost ever seen a deferred third baseman have at the major league level, where he fields a bouncer behind the bag, doesn't turn and throw the second, doesn't run to the bag to get the lead runner, but takes 2 steps towards the bag and realizes he might not get it, or at least not get there in time to make a double play, and then throws on the run across his body to get Aaron Judge at first base. That was a good throw after.
It was actually like pretty athletic, considering Mark Vientos is like such a horrible athlete, it looks like, on the field.
for the chaos that he created for himself, it actually did wind up okay, but that chaos was created by him for some reason, taking 3 strides towards third base away from first base, as there was a ball that could have probably been a double play. Then Cody Bellinger comes up, and this begins, again, this stretch of 3 straight lefties and a hitter that you'd be happy to turn around if you had a lefty. And Dickie Lovelady was warming up in the bullpen. He did wind up coming in again. But still, Montas only had about 70 pitches. I could see probably the vision in Carlos Mendoza's mind, like, just let this guy get me through 6, and then I can save Dickie Lovelady for the next time these guys come up, because it was still only the 6th inning. I think this was some of the overthinking from Mendoza. Bellinger hits the bloop double, and then Frankie Montas did get Ben Rice to fly out. But those 2 runs at that time felt like they did not need to go on the board. It seemed like a lot of things could have stopped them from getting on the board, and I do think there could have been just taking Montas out and letting the lefty face the lefties.
Yeah, going 7-2 to 7-4. All of a sudden, we're like, a little hairy right now. Game's feeling a little close. We know that the Yankees hit a lot of home runs. They answered again back in the 7th inning, getting another run there, but then shout out Pete Alonso. What a dog. And I can't still wrap my head around the idea that Aaron Boone went to Javian Sandridge, who I believe was making his major league debut, to go up against Juan Soto and then Pete Alonso and then Nimmo. I was like, I don't know if that's where I would have brought him in for his first ever appearance, some of the best hitters in baseball.
For sure, but the Yankees did have a situation in this game Saturday where it was kind of similar to the Mets on Sunday, where they were like, if Rodon doesn't have it, we're kind of just fucked no matter what. So like maybe we could really sneak one by, but just they didn't do that. And that was also a moment where the game wasn't out of hand yet.
Not yet, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They knew where the Mets bullpen was. Like Scotty Frost started that inning to try, and again, that was them trying to stretch Scotty Frost for a 2nd inning. After he got the 7, 8, 9 out in the Mets lineup, he then starts the inning with the top of the lineup. And this was the good moment where Carlos Mendoza was proactive, pinch hit Ronny Mauricio for Starling Marte. Marte, bad matchup for Scott Efros.
Super bad.
Ready to hit the ball into the ground for a second available. Mauricio hits a hustle double up the middle.
Which was awesome.
Lindor hits a bloop single where Grisham kind of booted it. That gave us the 3rd run. And that's when Javian Sandridge, just a name that was destined for the SEC as a tweener linebacker safety, Javian Sandridge. I know I'm going to have a Javian Sandridge. I'm a new NCAA dynasty after when the game comes out, like this week or next, whenever it comes out. But that was a white flag move there. The 2nd inning for Efros, then the lefty making his first career appearance. Making a first career appearance in there to get Juan Soto, pitched pretty afraid of Juan Soto, wound up walking him, and then Pete breaks the game open, and we can all chill out.
Yeah, no, it was really nice to just like sit back in our chair and be like, whew, all right, I think we're going to win this game. I think we're going to take the series.
Even though we still had to bring Edwin Diaz in the game.
Of course, but I think that was, we talked about it. We're like, why is he coming in? And it was really because I think he was going to be used. Well, we have Monday off day, so regardless, you could pitch him back-to-back days if needed, and I think it made sense.
Nothing says summer like long days, clutch plays, and firing off a few bets on the game, all with the DraftKings Sportsbook. Never bet on baseball before? It's easy. Pick a guy to go yard, hammer some live odds mid-game, or just ride with your squad and hope for the best. No spreadsheets, just vibes and dingers. Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Yeah, that makes sense. But again, this was a game. Once you jump on Rodon, you kind of wanted and had to have, especially jumping out to a big lead. They let them sneak back in, but it was really just great to have them bludgeon their way to a victory over a bullpen that was tired.
And the Mets hit the ball really well, hit the ball hard, hit the ball in the air, hitting home runs. Again, I can't stress to everyone at home enough. I still see comments in our comment section about singles are the way. No, they're not. Home runs are the way. You cannot score a run with nobody on base hitting a single. You can score one when you hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's how you win baseball games.
And the one game the Mets lost this year is the one thing that would have pushed them over the edge would have been a home run. If the Mets hit a home run any spot on Sunday, there's a good chance they wind up winning this game.
Remember that inning where there was the single, and then or Jeff McNei got hit by a pitch, then a walk, then Starling Marte hit the single off of the center field wall, and no runs scored on those three things that happened. Would have been great if one of those was even a double. It would have scored a run. So it's like, I think I understand why people are like, I want to see hits. I want to see average. It's good baseball. It's like you can watch it and visually understand like you're dominating a pitcher, whereas you can see one swing of the bat, get a run. You're like, oh, that was one bad pitch. I get why people sometimes fluctuate back and forth.
No, totally. And we were sitting next to those Yankee fans on Saturday, too, that were lamenting the fact that the Yankees had too many home runs. They wanted some more team baseball.
That was so funny. I'm glad you caught on to that.
As it was happening there. But also just quickly want to talk about Montas because now it's been 2 good starts, 1 bad. It's really just something where if he's able to sit over 96 miles an hour, like he will be good. If he's under that, he will be bad. Those are the 2 starts that were good. Then the one that was bad, he was underneath. Liked how much he used the splitter in this game against the lefties because he kind of needs that, the cutter as well, because just he could throw a lot of fastballs and some more sinkers, especially to the righties, but it's Frankie fastball. And it's
Frankie
the same.
5 innings. Frankie, what was the other one? Dominican
Lance Lynn. Yeah, because this game there were again more splitters, more sliders, but it was still that was going to be the Frankie Montas way as we move forward here. And I think we've both seen enough to be like, yeah, Frankie seems like a good member of this rotation, exactly what he was meant to be.
I don't feel nervous with Frankie Montas on the mound. I'll be honest. I have no feel of nerves.
No, I feel exactly as I expected to coming into the season with Frankie fastballs going.
How different is he than Luis Severino was last year? Truthfully,
not different at all. He's definitely different than Luis Severino right now.
Yeah, which apparently the Luis Severino rumors are getting even stronger and stronger with the possibility back to the Mets if they cover a lot of the contract. Which gut reaction? Yes or no? In or out?
Not really. I don't know. Do we really need Luis Severino? I mean, let's see what happens next week when we get McNei and Senger back allegedly for 2 games in the series against the Royals right before the break to give them then a full week of rest to pitch again next weekend coming out of the break. I think to me it's much bigger issues with the bullpen, but that was all on full display in the game on Sunday because it was just Carlos Mendoza said, "Let's cross 2 fingers. Let's hope we do it right now," and maybe got close. Got damn fucking close to doing it. It's not for Zach
Baseball gods literally said, you guys do not get to win this game. The Yankees were the luckiest team ever in this game. I couldn't believe some of the bounces that they got, some of the things that happened in this game that went the Yankees' way. And listen, they played good baseball. They got 12 hits. They scored 6 runs. I'm not going to take that away from them. But man, the Mets had an opportunity to put up like 15 runs in this game. And it seemed like everything that could have gone wrong in those big innings did go wrong.
They kind of had the ability to put up 15 runs, but also like kind of not, like, I don't know, like they didn't really hit the ball that hard, that consistently. Like Pete Soto and Nimmo combined for 0 hits. Like it was a game where some of the runs we even did score, we were fortunate to score. It was a lot of bullshit and nonsense. We had big moments where we could have come through. It's true. Like you watch this game being like, yeah, the Mets really outplayed them. No, definitely not. But it was and then the Yankees also hit the 2 home runs. The Judge home run kind of wound up being the decisive shot. And that, I don't know. Tip the cap. You lose when Brandon Waddell can't defeat Max Fried. You tip your cap.
I will say, Chris Davinsky, awesome, looked great. Someone who I think we're going to continue to see.
Lives
in
to fight
bullpen.
Another day.
Zach Pop, I think's gone. I don't think he makes it.
I think by the time you guys are listening to this, I don't think Zach Pop's on the roster anymore.
I don't think he should either. What did it look like on TV? Because in the stadium, looks like 97, and it looks like they know exactly what's coming.
It's just sinker, 97. It's just like if you're throwing everyone a sinker, they kind of know you're throwing them a sinker. It's not. It's so especially with not great command. Like if you throw 97 and you could dot that sinker, it'd be pretty good. But Zach Pop's been released twice in the last year. It's not. These things aren't an accident. The Mets just needed someone to try and throw 25 to 30 pitches today.
Waddell looked capable again.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, again, also this was a little more of a struggle for Waddell. I don't know why we went Pop before Waddell. Just looking back at the game log right now, I know it was the bottom of the order, so I do think that Mendoza tried to sneak one in, but Austin Wells hits a home run right away, and you're like, all right, this might have not actually been the best idea. And then you bring in Waddell to try and face the bottom of the order again. And again, there was kind of some chaos, but then if Aaron Judge hits a home run off Brandon Waddell, again, you tip the cap for that one. That's a classic Aaron Judge home run right there of Brandon Waddell. And then you do fight back, though. At 5-0, we were talking with Claire, some other buddies. Yeah, this game's over, turn it off, let's not watch the rest of this game. But for the Mets to fight hard and made the Yankees sweat in a game that was the punt game. I think Andy Martino tweeted literally that the Mets felt like this was the gravy game. And Mendoza kind of let it all out there between Friday and Saturday. And he said, whatever happens on Sunday, happens on Sunday. So
he even joked about it, I think, before the game, with the press being I'm not really sure what we're going to do today. We're going to figure it out as we go. Don't really have a plan. It's just going to be, and I think he even giggled. He was guess it's a bullpen game today. Let's see what we got. And you kind of respect it.
If not for triple-double plays in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings, you have every chance to win this game again. And on top of that, even that 5th inning when you rally, Lindor hits the 1-out, 2-run single. And now you have 2 guys on for Soto and Alonso. And this was a game where Soto and Alonso, neither of them got the big hit. That's how this winds up being different.
So I was sitting in my seat, section 128, and people were standing up. The vibes were turning. 2 rows behind me, there was a Met fan and a Yankee fan that were livid that people were standing up during the game while a big moment was happening in a big series between the Mets and the Yankees. Unfortunately, the Met guy went out of his way to go yell at people in the row across from him, being he's literally went, grabbed the guy, shook him and said, sit the fuck down. And I was like, whoa, that's a freak out. You're at a baseball game, man. I understand you're getting your view blocked. You have the ability to stand as well. If you can't stand, that's a little bit different. There's also a way to go about it. As soon as that happened, Soto strikeout, Pete got out. The vibe around in that area changed so hard because it was that was extremely hostile and super unnecessary and unprovoked when everyone else is standing out. You singled out that one family and was sit the fuck down. That was bad vibes.
It also seems like a great time to stand when you have Max Fried on the ropes, Francisco Lindor, just the 2-run single, the tying runs on deck, Juan Soto's at the plate with 2 on.
Standing.
It's a great moment and wound up being a pretty great game. So it's I get that. And the Mets did fight hard against Fried, who's just owned them for his entire career. The day that he retires, I'm going to have a nice cold drink because I can't wait to never have to face him again. But you have him there. You have him for a second. Even just knocking him out after the 5th inning. He only threw 1 pitch in the 6th inning. But that was, you put yourself in such position. And then again, as Jonathan Loáisiga comes in, chaos left and right. Again, that was the pinch hit Ronny Mauricio, then the pinch hit base hit for Baty. Have him on the ropes. Jeff McNei again, chaos, squeaks out an infield single. Good hustle on that. Some chaos behind that play where now the bases are loaded and the Yankees can't find the ball because it bounced off the first base umpire. Brett Baty was already returning the base. He has to hustle back. A bad throw that was Goldschmidt playing first in this game. Winds up behind him. Winds up turning Anthony Volpe around. I thought trying to be aggressive, understanding that Hayden Senger was on deck and knowing Ronny Mauricio being a freak athlete, I almost would have liked to see Ronny just jump. The second that ball goes to second base, because I know he didn't dive back into third, but he scrambled back to third, so I know the momentum's going the other way. It was
just the fact that it hit off the umpire. That's why the ball didn't get to the Mets dugout or possibly even out of play. That's why I'm lucky fucking team. That ball should have been by him, but the umpire was too fat and couldn't move out of the way. He was in the wrong position. I think Ronny Mauricio would have been out by 80 feet. And I understand
when the ball gets thrown to second,
he was going back. There's no way that you can predict that he's going to throw to second. When he gets the baseball, you can't be I think he's going to throw a second. Let me take off. Because all he does is this. He doesn't let go of the ball because someone says the guy from third's running, he's out by 80 feet. And you're oh, we really killed this inning all of a sudden. It
was dead anyway.
Well, yeah, it was dead anyway because Hayden Senger was up. And no disrespect to the Senger family. Hayden plays a great defensive catcher, but we know at the plate that's never been his strong suit. Would have been great to have a hitting catcher there at some point.
Yeah, this was kind of what we talked about, and you guys gave us some shit a few weeks ago, where there was still some surprise on our end of actually sending down Francisco Alvarez because the other option being Hayden Senger. Also frustrated me a little bit, again, looking back, that Hayden Senger just smacked one right to Anthony Volpe, a first pitch sinker. Exactly what the Yankees wanted there, where I understand wanting to give Luis Torrens a day off, and he did pinch hit in the 9th inning, so we never actually had to put the gear on.
The worst calls ever on him.
But if you're willing in any way, shape, or form to bring Luis Torrens in this game, like even if you're tying the game, willing to bring him in to catch a few innings in the 9th, I understand he did get beat. He got beat up pretty badly Friday and Saturday. And Luis Torrens gets the shit kicked out of him every couple of days back there.
He gets hit by more foul balls and bats and everything than I've ever seen from a catcher. He's got a magnet on him.
And he also has not hit in 2 square months. But if you were ever willing to bring Luis Torrens into this game, that would have been a good opportunity to do so if you were willing. Because the inning ended right there with the double play. And I do wonder, like now there's a lot of revisions history happening, people talking about it on Mets Twitter. If the Mets should have just told Senger to not swing, maybe just bunt and take one out. See, I said slash. I said you fake the bunt and you try to just chop one.
Probably still hits it to shortstop for a double play.
Yeah, probably. I just try to do something that wouldn't get you 2 outs. But even getting that run there, I was like, you know what? Whatever. We got 3 more shots against this Yankee bullpen. We're down by 1 run. They do have 2 more shots against our bullpen as well. But whatever. We can still go into this. And then the Yankees get the insurance run the next inning. That was a big stop of the momentum.
Yeah.
But we top the order coming up. Part of the order coming up next inning. We had every single chance. Lindor gets hit by a pitch, and then you gotta keep saying this episode. You tip the cap to Cody Bellinger. Maybe one of the best defensive plays I've seen in baseball this season. A shoestring catch on a sinking Juan Soto line drive.
By the way, I know people on Twitter were like, that ball hit the ground. No, it did not.
No, it didn't hit the ground.
That was a clear catch.
It was just amazing they caught the ball. It's a great play by him.
You see the replay and you're like, son of a bitch. Like, how did he had to literally get such a perfect jump on that?
He's got long arms.
You could see the blade of grass in between, and you're like, I think there's literally one blade of grass in between the ball, his glove, and it being a bouncing ball. That's a hit as opposed to a double play. Lindor getting double up really sucked. Again, my point of view, I couldn't really tell what was going on. It seemed like he didn't slide back. I know a lot of people were really mad that Lindor didn't slide back, but also at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. That was a crazy play by Bellinger.
Yeah, it was an insane play. Also, an insane perfect throw by him on a hose from left field to first base. And Lindor threw the brakes on quick, seen on TV, and did hustle back. Like it was just everything happened so fast that there was not enough time for any of the things to actually progress. And then you even get the nice walk from Pete Alonso next. And Nimmo hits another one hard in the hole, and then you get Pete Alonso. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how did we have an inning where 2 guys got on base for free, 2 guys hit the ball hard, not even directly at people, and they're out of the inning? And that was like, all right, now this game's over. Whatever.
And then you got the Rico Garcia debut. Where were you when Rico Garcia debuted? He looked pretty good. He's 5'9". It's like me being out there on the mound. It's crazy.
He got that really low release point, too, and the nice rising fastball. He dropped a nice curveball on Aaron Judge to strike him out looking.
That's one thing he'll be able to tell his kids in 20 years. I struck out Aaron Judge.
Yeah, he mixed in the curveball. He mixed in the cutter. Like, he looks like he has enough stuff to absolutely stick in this bullpen moving forward. And this is a guy that I talked to you guys about in like February, being like, this stuff was interesting. Like, this could be like the dead nail Nunez light. And now we're probably going to lose Nunez for the season. Reportedly, may have to go for Tommy John surgery. Rico Garcia is someone that definitely has enough stuff as this glob of chaos grows and grows. And it grows in importance more than anything else that can stick in this bullpen and wind up getting like relatively big outs as we move ahead to the season.
Last thing I'm going to mention from this game, I know Carlos Mendoza got tossed in the 9th inning on the 2 horrendously bad calls to Luis Torrens. They were just not even close. I love that he put dirt on the plate, was yelling at the umpire, had to be held back. Fantastic. Good to see Mendy showing some emotion like that. On the flip side, which is kind of ironic, the Yankees complain more than anybody about strike calls. It's like every time that there's a ball or a strike that's called that they didn't swing at, they are constantly complaining. And I know Boone chirps nonstop, and I kind of do like that at points in time where it's like I want them to talk shit to the umpires because fuck the umps. But man, DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge was crying about the strikeout call to Rico Garcia, which was just a dot, completely a strike. It felt like every Yankee hitter at some point had a problem with a pitch that was called, something that was being made. What a bunch of whiners.
That is their only move. When things are going bad, the only thing Aaron Boone knows how to do is get after the umpires. Like also, like this team has a vested interest in a baseball media company, and they love the fact that whenever they do this and it gets viral, like everybody wins. You know what I mean? So like I think that's just the thing. Also, one last thing that I think closed the door in this game: the Starling Marte tweaking his knee in the last inning.
It's so incredibly fitting that Starling Marte, I think over the last month, has like a 950 OPS, has actually been playing really good baseball, and he gets hurt. He's going to hit the IL surely, right?
Well, you get quotes after the game. He told Tacoma that he's not really worried about it. He felt something weird. They called it a flare-up, Asked if it could be an IL thing. Marte replied, I don't know yet. We'll see. The doctor has to check, decide what's going on.
He's going to hit the IL, and he'll be back after the All-Star break.
Well, the All-Star break's next week. Also, we have news that Jesse Winker could be activated on Tuesday after he just spent a weekend with AA Binghamton. So that's really great news there.
Ooh.
And then also, what?
Keep going. I know what I wanted to talk about, too.
And then last thing I was going to say, we are getting some news that we could get next weekend in Kansas City to make up for the nonsense that, was pitched in this series, that we get Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea both pitching next weekend in Kansas City, which would be awesome.
I'd love to see them pitch. That's a great team to pitch against, too, because right now they're not really doing much of the hitting.
No, and like we said, weird to bring them back right before the All-Star break, just, take the extra 10 days. But with the series then, and then the series the weekend right after the All-Star break, you can kind of game it and put them on schedule to pitch basically 4 of 5 games while also still being on a good amount of rest as they return, which would be nice. That'd be a nice little way to sneak a couple extra starts from those guys from this team.
Overall, great series. Positive,
Awesome.
positive, good stuff.
Totally.
Real conversation we had. What's going on with Vientos? How much longer we can keep doing this? Because Ronny Mauricio's playing better baseball, playing exciting. He is athletic. He hits the ball hard.
He got to hit as a righty.
He got to hit as a righty. He's taking better at bats. Vientos' at bats have been terrible.
Vientos hit the ball really hard twice on Saturday. He did.
But the one was a quality one. The other one was still on the ground though. Still. Sure,
yeah. I mean, the Mauricio double was on the ground too, which is the perfect spot for a ground ball.
Right up the middle, but it was like a line drive on the ground. It wasn't like the worm burner on the ground.
Sure, yeah. It was like a 3-hopper by the time it got to the outfield.
It's a good ground ball, yeah.
It's a great ground ball. But again, also the difference between those guys, and it's so apparent, is just athleticism.
And
defense. you see Ronny Mauricio be able to leg out a double like that, something that'd be a single for most guys in the league. Like Giancarlo Stanton, Yves Soto, Marte, we saw them, each of them pelt balls off the wall in the series and only get one base out of it just because of how hard they hit the ball. But Mauricio, what he is able to do, and also just being able to come in late in the game like that and then play second base, and you can move Baty to third, and you can move Jeff to the outfield. Like the chess pieces work really well when you have Mauricio on this team. And the problem is that there's no option, literally, like at the double entendre with Mark Vientos. He is on this team. You're not going to find someone to trade for him, probably, maybe.
I think you might.
What do you get? You just get rid of Mark Vientos for nothing? What do you want, a teenager?
No, I think that there's a super possibility that the Pirates could be interested in a guy like Mark Vientos.
But you're not getting anything substantial. You're getting a bad reliever back then. Dennis Santana for Mark Vientos.
And they are looking to possibly trade Brian Reynolds. I'm not saying Vientos is the main piece.
We're on his no-trade list.
Oh, we're on the no-trade list?
Do you see you've never seen the Brian Reynolds MAGA no-trade list?
No, I never saw that.
There's 6 teams on it. I just sent it to you on Twitter. Do you know what the 6 teams are on the no-trade list?
No, who is it?
It's the Mets, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Giants, and it's either the Phillies or the Padres. I can't remember the last one.
It's the Padres. It is the Padres. Yeah, I remember seeing that now. That's real, though?
Yeah, it's real. He's not going to a team in a big city.
All right, well, that's complete shit out of luck. Because I was going to say, that the Pirates would probably get rid of his money to take a chance on a guy who probably still going to hit at some point again still.
Definitely, but you're getting a worse version of Brandon Nimmo, who still definitely can't play center field.
Yeah, I guess that's also true. He can't.
He's not
in center field.
I'm saying he's not the fit for the Mets. If Mark Vientos wants to be part of the package for O'Neal Cruz, he could be the third piece.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're getting to this weird roster crunch part and games.
It's going to make sense because Marte's going on the IL and Winker's coming back. So again, lines up always.
There it is. But I'm just saying, when it comes down to it, this version of Mark Vientos does not help the Mets win games like Ronny Mauricio or Brett Baty do.
Totally. And I think that now we've seen enough of these guys where we kind of had a temper tantrum about them 2 weeks ago as the team was in the losing streak. But Brett Baty, there's a consistency in his at-bats that we didn't see earlier this season or any other time in his career, and I am pretty confident. If you watch, again, this is stupid because it did happen. You can't pretend it didn't. But if you wash away those first 3 weeks where he looked lost, incoherent, like he had never picked up a bat or glove before, he's a guy who has an above-average line and playing well above average defense at multiple infield positions.
Even still with those, he has a 98 OPS plus. Yeah, he's playing elite defense. So that's
what I'm saying. So he's someone who belongs on a roster. And then you have Ronny Mauricio, who's a switch hitter, much better lefty than righty, but they get a hit from the right side against Tim Hill. Was shocked about on Sunday, but he can play good defense in multiple positions. He can actually take Francisco Lindor off his feet at shortstop. He can run, hits the ball crazy hard. Because you think about what would be the best case scenario for Vientos. It'd be maybe you just get hot again. But truthfully, Mauricio is a guy who could definitely get hot too.
For sure.
There could be a supernova happen within Ronny Mauricio because he's got that, again, it's not a big sample. He's got that OPS 720 again. And he's running and he's throwing, he's playing defense. He's physically
just
speaking,
a better baseball player.
We talk about this all the time. Like, physically speaking, there's not a lot of players in the league like Ronny Mauricio. Some Mets fans compare him to like Ellie De La Cruz and O'Neal Cruz.
Crazy.
That is totally unfounded, not even close to being true in terms of baseball or physical tools. That's how freaky those two guys are. But it's just between those three, Vientos adds the least to this team. I got a lot of shit for a tweet I made after
people were mad.
After a few cold ones on Saturday, where the Mets were wearing the City Connects on Saturday, so it's purple. So last year, a big part of the Mets season, purple grimace.
Can't wait for those City Connect jerseys to be gone. They look, I'm so done with them. They're terrible.
I just hate when the Mets wear them and it's gray versus gray. Because I'm just like, I like color in my baseball games. But like Vientos is wearing the grimace elbow guard from last season, Swaggy V. And I was like, this is a guy who's trapped in what happened last season. And people are like, this is such a bad. I mean, again, I don't think I would tweet that if I was 100% sober, I'll be honest with you guys. But we had some fun on Saturday. Shout out Moo. It's just, it does seem like Vientos, like he smelled his own farts a little bit last year. Like he kind of, and we all
told
did.
you I hated the icy. I hated the frosted tips. I hated them this offseason. I was like, you can't get frosted tips after you were
100 games.
Yeah, 100 games of being a Major League Baseball player. Like that's crazy.
He was also fucking sick in the playoffs. You can never take that
Of
away.
course,
So I know there's a player inside of him that can be.
How
like,
do we get it?
I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. Like you need a slump buster. Like I just don't know. But just to me, when you see him. And again, Pete still rocks the grimace cleats. I understand a lot of these guys still do that, but just like he seems like someone who really needs to like have like a new awakening, like turn a page. There's just something. And again, he's going to have more chances to do it because he will be on this team. He has no minor league options. None.
Shout out Billy Epler.
Shout out Billy Epler and Buck Showalter for the famous feud. But they will cut Travis Jankowski before anything happens with Vientos, unless you can work him into a trade, which you're not getting great value back.
They will send down Ronny Mauricio before they cut Mark Vientos.
Other teams don't want a guy who has no position, who's going to turn 26, who's only had 100 good major league games out of like 200. Like that's just kind of it. Like that's what all this lines up to. And it's a shame, but that's where this roster is right now. It's a very strange problem they have.
Something we're going to keep a close eye on it and see what's going on moving forward. Do you want to talk about the prospects real quick? I know we're going to do a prospect episode later this week, I believe, but we do have
this
some
week
quick
or
little
next
updates. Yeah, something.
Yeah, because we're going to get the MLB draft next week, so we're going to do some MLB draft stuff. Mark is great for the draft.
Oh, yeah, let's do draft this week.
Yeah, a guest hour for you guys for draft stuff. We do want to do, I don't want to do this episode because there's so much talk about the Subway Series, but we're getting a lot of movement, a lot of things going on with our pitching prospects. And I think the pitching prospects are relevant right now for two big reasons. One, we need pitchers, so they might come out and pitch for this team. Two, only a few weeks from the trade deadline, and the Mets have a shot to really drop a hammer down because they have so many good pitching prospects. But the one thing I want to allude to quickly, got some data about it. Brandon Sproat's had two really good starts in a row. Yes. Seems to be possibly finally turning over that leaf at AAA. Last two starts, 11 innings, no earned runs, 26 total whiffs, 14 strikeouts, 4 walks. Something cool. Alvarez caught both those games.
Oh, okay. Francisco Alvarez back.
And then big thing is that just there's a newfound comfortability with that curveball and changeup, which were the things. He couldn't face the lefties. Now he was able to throw those against them. The curveball especially, like his highest and third highest usage rate in his last two starts of any start this year, after he had a bunch of starts in the middle of the season where basically wasn't throwing the curveball. And then he came back and he came a little more over the top with that curveball, trying to get some more depth on it. Didn't change the movement that much, but now he's throwing it harder. And again, throwing it to the lefties, actually using it to get them out. Same with that changeup, trusting it again. The Mets have changed a lot of stuff with Sproat in the last couple of years and helped a lot with his fastball and his sweeper. But I think maybe some of the cues they gave him with either arm slot or grips or this and that, everything you do as a pitcher affects everything else, even if it's not intentional. So I do think maybe that affected the way he was able to throw that change and curve. Now it seems like maybe he's gotten over a hump adjustment-wise. Now he's able to throw those and trust them again a little bit more.
Yeah, love to see that. Sproat was a guy that we were so high on. And the fact that he plateaued was, I don't want to say concerning, but we noticed. But it's good to see that he's kind of, it seems like maybe breaking through a little bit, which is a good thing to see as well. You're supposed to struggle at these levels. For Brandon Sproat to have struggled and maybe be finding and turning a corner here could be huge for his entire development.
And still definitely a guy who we think is going to be a successful Major League starter, mid-rotation for years to come, along with the two other guys who have not hit roadblocks, who have not plateaued, Nolan McLean and Jonah Tong. Jonah Tong will be in the Futures game, which is awesome. That's going to be next weekend, right? No, 2 weekends.
No, what they do is they do it like
during, like Saturday afternoon for
Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Saturday during the Major League games. Yeah. Dumb shit. Yeah, dumb. I hate when they do that. But so yeah, Jonah Tong will be in that game along with Carson Bench, another guy who's gone to AA and he's hitting well off the bat. If he goes on like a ripping pace this season, the rest of AA, like now it's fucking on. Like we might have a guy here. And then Nolan McLean, like still just crushing. I know a lot of people wanted either Sproat or McLean to come up and pitch a game this weekend because they were both on the schedule for AAA. We had Hagenman and Brandon Waddell as the bulk guys for 2 of these games, so I think a lot of people were frustrated by that. But I also don't hate the Mets not throwing their their 2 closest, readiest, most prized pitching prospects into the Subway Series to make their debuts, just like DeGrom and Rafael Montero all those years ago.
Yeah, I definitely want to give these guys some time. And David Stearns is like, we don't want to bring these guys up for spot starts. Like, we want them to come up and stay there. And that obviously is not the case with all the guys coming back from injury. Before we get going into the series preview, some quick little housekeeping stuff, just keeping it on the National League East. The Nationals fired Mike Rizzo and Dave Martinez. I thought Davey Martinez was going to get fired. Mike Rizzo was a bit of a surprise, honestly.
Yes and no. Like Mike Rizzo, what has he done in the last 5 years besides the Juan Soto trade?
And he what has Brian Cashman done in the last 10 years? Nothing. He's got a ring at least.
At least Brian Cashman, there's players that come to this team and something good happens. For Mike Rizzo to have converted that Juan Soto trade, the best any executive probably has ever converted a superstar trade.
That should keep him there.
But there's nothing else. Like the fact that they got James Wood, CJ Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, 3 guys who
and Harley Susano, who's been sick too.
And even Robert Hassel probably winds up being a 4th outfielder. But like Wood looks like a bona fide top 10 player in baseball already, and he looks like he will be that forever.
Yes.
Mackenzie Gore has turned himself into like a top, just because he's still a little chaotic, top 15 or 20 pitcher in the league. I think just in terms of the strikeouts get you there. And CJ Abrams is a not highly caliber, that's a horrible phrase. Highly, I don't know what I'm saying. He's a good shortstop. He plays a good shortstop. Shortstop's such a deep position. I don't know if I can call him top 10 in the league, but he's awesome.
He plays a bad shortstop. He swings a good bat. He's horrible at shortstop.
Yeah. Which again, like you converted that shit hard, and there's nothing else that's ever has come to this roster to supplement any of that talent at all.
I do wonder if like there was something going on where, because they went after Nathaniel Lowe, they signed Josh Bell. They did spend a little bit of money this year, not a ton, but they did. And I wonder if the ownership was like, this is your chance to put out a competitive team, and then the fact that they've gone on such a skid, they're like, we got to go a different route right now. We can't keep trying this.
I don't know. If I was ownership there, I would just Google MLB standings and see Marlins ahead of Nationals and be like, you guys fucking joking?
We got to get fired.
Yeah, that team was actively trying to lose. We have some of the best players in baseball, and that's happening. So that was a bit of a shock, but also not that surprising.
But also sad, because it was really nice to beat up on Davey Martinez. He really gave us some great memories.
Yeah, I wonder now, keeping track moving forward, if we see the Mets get hit less often when they play against the Nationals, because that was Davey Martinez's big-time old baseball move.
Something to keep an eye out for. And then we got all-star rosters revealed. The Mets have 3 as of right now. Francisco Lindor is starting. Pete Alonso is on the bench as a reserve. And Edwin Diaz out in the bullpen. No other pitchers, no other hitters. Juan Soto notably left off this roster. Bad job by MLB. Bad job by whoever decides this. The fact that he's not on the roster, but Fernando Tatis with significantly worse stats is crazy. And it's not even the lone Padres representative, so you can't even use that excuse.
Yeah, it's also a situation where, like, if it was a fan voting thing, I'd have more on terms understanding it. Because Tatis started the season so hot and Soto so cold. But this is not fan voting. These were the guys placed on the team. So I think they... Also, good. Let's Soto clear his head. Doesn't need to worry about this stuff.
He's going to be on the team because Corbin Carroll's not going to play in the All-Star game, and he was announced as an All-Star.
Corbin Carroll was activated yesterday.
Apparently, he said he's not going to play in the All-Star game regardless, though.
That's fine. And also, people were kind of shitting on the Corbin Carroll making it over Soto, but Corbin Carroll was much better until he got injured. He just happened to miss 4 weeks.
Yeah, that was kind of the big difference. He was having an MVP caliber season all season long, where Soto's gotten hot realistically the last month or so.
Totally. Like I'm fine with the Corbin Carroll. But yeah, it's nice to see Edwin Diaz on that team. Of course, we love that Francisco Lindor is starting. Like that's amazing. We talked about that last episode.
Pete deserves it too.
Pete not being in the home run derby but going to the All-Star game, which is awesome. Really cool. It's awesome. It's so great.
So good to not see him hitting the home run derby. It's let someone else have it. I think James Wood is doing it and Acuna, which should be very exciting.
I want to say O'Neal Cruz too, but I'm not positive about that. But then also just another 2 things I want to mention quickly. I want you guys to keep an eye on another pitching prospect we have in down AAA. His name is Alex Carrillo.
Oh, yes.
He is an indie ball guy. The Mets signed last year. He just blew through AA. Now he's blowing through AAA. He's a weird pitcher where he's got basically a side armor, low arm slot, but he can get up to 100 miles an hour. And he has a big deviation between the horizontal movement on his slider, cutter, and then sinker. With like 20 inches of horizontal movement difference. So it's able to kind of get those pitches in against everybody. And the slider and the cutter have good depth. Our buddy who works for the Red Sox texted me and he was like, who the hell is this Alex Carrillo guy? And I was like, I'll tell you about Alex Carrillo right now. But he's not in the 40 man. He just looks so good at AAA. I think we could see him join the Glob of Chaos and get onto here at some point too. And Jonathan Santucci, told you guys MLB draft coming up soon. 2nd round pick from last year, already up to AA after torching the high A, low. What's the league the Cyclones playing now? I don't know.
That is the New York. Is it not the Penn League anymore?
I don't know if it still is. I know it used to be the New York Penn League, but nice to see that progression from Santucci early getting Double-A. Like, these pitching prospects are so good that we're just pushing everybody up as like fast as it can happen.
Shall we hit that Orioles series preview?
Yeah, I think it's time.
All right. What are our pitching matchups, James? Let us know. We're heading down to Baltimore on Tuesday, 6:35. Beautiful stadium. If you can make it down there as a Mets fan, super easy to get there. Short trip, whether it's a car or the Amtrak. And Camden Yards is one of my favorite places in baseball.
Easily. It kind of has like a small stadium feel because it's not that big, it's not that vast. So you kind of feel like
not tall.
Yeah, it feels like I don't want to mean this like to chastise it, but it just feels minor league adjacent the way that everybody's like kind of on the field. Like you can hear like you're all on top of it. And we were there for a great game a few years ago. The Framber Valdez broke his quality start streak, and Mark went to 3 games in 24 hours. It was 24, right?
Yeah, 3 games in 24 hours, and we went L.A., saw Albert Pujols hit 700, went to Yankees Red Sox the next day. Judge just missed tying Roger Maris's home run record for 9th most in a single season?
I think it was 8th or 9th most ever hit in a single season.
Yeah,
incredible accomplishment.
Came an inch away from hitting that, and then I had to leave the game early, took a train down to Baltimore, met James there, and we saw the Orioles and Astros, which who would have known that would have been a big turning point for the Orioles for their future, except for this year, because this year has been a complete step backwards.
Yeah, big step backwards. Did just sweep the Braves, because somehow it's happened.
Did you see
the
Trevor
Braves
Rogers?
can only beat the Mets. Yeah, Trevor Rogers looks great. Not going to see him this series, though, thankfully. And so pitching matchups this series. Right now, we have Clay Holmes, David Peterson scheduled to throw the first 2 games of the series. And right now, based on the days of the schedule, Frankie Montas is scheduled to throw Friday against the Royals. But I think there's a chance, because it would keep Montas on regular rest, to move up a day to face the Orioles on the Thursday day game and then open up those spots on Friday and Saturday for Sean Manaea and Kodai Senga. But we also could just get another Hagenman on Thursday and keep everyone on the schedule that they're on. But then matchups are Tuesday, Monday off day, 6:35 game. Everyone be aware, 6:35 game on Tuesday. Clay Holmes versus someone with the last name Young. Brandon Young. Yep, Brandon Young. Brandon Young making the start for the Orioles. I will not say anything about Brandon Young. Wednesday, 7 o'clock ESPN game. David Peterson versus Tomoyaki Sugano. Ace off in Mark's eyes, even though Sugano has a rough go of late.
Why is it not on Wednesday night? I have to watch ESPN baseball?
Yeah, Wednesday night you have to watch ESPN baseball.
Actually, perfect. That's amazing, actually. I love it. Good.
Why?
I got plans on Wednesday night, so that's great.
Oh, nice, great.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I can watch the highlights.
Fantastic. And then Thursday matinee, Montas or Hagenman against Charlie Morton. Have you seen that Charlie Morton's back?
Yeah, and you know where he's... Well, if they were still competitive, he super would have been an Atlanta Brave this year. But the fact that they're basically out of it, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. The curveball's completely back for Charlie Morton.
Curveball's back. He's done a much better job of locating that fastball so it doesn't get torched and hit to the moon every single time he throws it. But this Orioles team has probably been the biggest disappointment in baseball this season.
Easily.
But they're also a team that has fought their way back into not actually being out of it at all. Like, there's a lot of teams for them to jump, but they're about 7 games out of the wild card race after sweeping the Braves.
There's a weird thing where I had this conversation on my stream the other day, and granted, their record is better now because they just swept the Braves, but they're going to have to win 75% of their games the rest of the way to get there. This team could do that. They still have the offensive players that make you think that they can win baseball games. Your favorite guy, Adley Rutschman, I don't think he's hurt right now, right?
No, he's out. He has no oblique. He's on the IL. And Gary Sanchez, who is filling in, also on the IL with a wrist or an ankle or something. The Orioles are going to be starting with Alex Jackson, who the Yankees actually traded them before the game on Sunday. I don't know if he got to that game or not. He will be the 6th different catcher to start the game for the Baltimore Orioles this season.
It's crazy.
I can't even imagine a team in the first half of the season starting that many different catchers when one of them is Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, especially when one of them is Adley Rutschman. But Gunnar Henderson, the numbers are starting to heat up a little bit. He missed spring training because of an injury. Felt like it just took him a month to get ready, and then now he's playing really good baseball again. Cedric Mullins has cooled off a little bit, but he's a name that Circle Mets fans could be a Met in the future, maybe a trade deadline acquisition. Another guy that's going to be high on the trade deadline market, Ryan O'Hearn, continues to absolutely mash, and sneaky Ramon Laureano's playing incredible baseball.
I was about to shout out Ramon Laureano as actually a possible trade deadline guy for the Mets too, because he's someone that you can sneak in, try to fake center field. Still,
he used to be awesome.
Not the defender he once was. He's now older. He's dealt with some injuries. He's dealt with a PED suspension. He also dealt with just the hatred of the Oakland Athletics when they were the Oakland Athletics. Talks openly all the time, as much as he can, about how poorly the organization was run while he was there. But there's still a lot of good things on this Orioles team. Also, it's funny about Ramon Laureano that the Braves could have shelled out a few $1 million to keep him this season after he was a great player for them down the stretch last season. Decided not to do it, and has had another fine year. Also, another one guy who's dealt with weird injuries beginning of the season, now is coming around, Jordan Westbrook, good ball player, Mississippi State Bulldog. Tried to play through a hamstring injury, looked so hurt for the whole month he was trying to play in April, was limping around, was sitting at 1 out of every 3 games, took a stint on the injured list, was coming back, got a setback on the injured list, and then came back and now has been mashing home runs left and right. Like this is Colton Cowser, similar. He
Good
dislocated his thumb, sliding head first into first base in one of their games in April. Again, this Orioles season has just been a series. Every single thing going wrong for this team. Now Cowser's back, O'Neal's back and mashing. Jacob Stallings is their catcher,
or Maverick Handley, right? I think he plays as well. Or is he's hurt too, Maverick Handley.
Yeah, he's hurt. Kobe Mayo, big time prospect, has just not lived up to anything at all.
But they're still kind of fucking with him, and they're like, you play 2 times a week, figure it out, get hot.
Yeah, the Orioles are a great lesson in team building, where if you're not getting better, you're probably just getting worse, where you kind of leave these players to be like, oh, so it's all on us to do it again. Like they had so much momentum after the last few seasons. Getting ousted in the playoffs every single time they got there definitely hurt. But then watching Corbin Burns walk out the door, guess a good decision because his arm did blow up, but also it's just you gotta throw these guys a bone. You gotta give them something. And this Orioles team kind of went into the seasons the same guys. Yeah, it's just that kind of sucked for them.
Anybody in the bullpen that's weird that maybe people should keep an eye out for?
I mean, it's a lot of guys that we know. Like this Orioles bullpen is not.
What about Brian Baker?
No new pops. He's been there for a few years now. He's got some stuff.
Do people know about him? Tell the people. I bet you the people aren't hip to Brian Baker.
I just wouldn't even say he's one of even like the 4 most interesting relievers in this bullpen. Like Brian Baker he's quite good. Like Brian Baker's awesome. He's been good for years. He's got a great fastball, slider, and a changeup. Like he's
running
really good.
33% K rate this year. That's way higher than ever.
Yeah, he's awesome. But then also like Felix Bautista is the guy. Seranthony Dominguez is the second guy. Baker kind of mixes in as like a mid to late leverage guy. Andrew Kittredge. And then the weird thing about this bullpen this year is that Yennier Cano has fallen off a cliff. Yennier Cano has been one of the best relievers in baseball the last few years. Like strange sinker changeup dude they got for Jorge Lopez years and years ago. He's now the guy who's kind of fallen apart there. And again, Gregory Soto, your favorite left-handed reliever, also has been very, very hit or miss to be respectful to him. But it's just I don't know. This is definitely a team that you look and you're like, why aren't there more? Why aren't there better veterans to mix in with these incredible young players that you have?
Remember when their owner signed and was like, I'm going to spend all this money and then did nothing?
This is my favorite fact in all of baseball. Their owner owns the Magna Carta.
That's it. That's how we end the preview.
That's it. He owns the actual document, the Magna Carta, the document of law in the modern world. He owns it, yet he won't buy any veterans for this club. And that might not be him. We've heard from reports, a great report by Pitcher List early in the season that was well sourced, that Mike Elias just apparently has so much hubris. He's like, I'm going to do this my way.
MLB
all my young players.
Burner?
MLB executive burner, possibly. Like, he's like, I'm doing it my way, my players, my draft, my development. And they still have tons of good minor leaguers. And like they have had a lot of pitching injuries, like between Kyle Bradish and Grayson Rodriguez. Those are 2 studs. Zach Eflin, a good mid-rotation guy. It's just like you can't leave yourself this available for these things to derail your entire season.
No, absolutely not. But I think that's a perfect place for us to end the series preview. Quick little Frankie Peppers for you guys to end it. We missed him on the last episode. Mets won the series. I said Frankie Peppers is back when we win the series. Let's go ahead and see what Frankie Peppers has got for us here today, wrapping up the Subway Series.
Here's Frankie.
Gentlemen, this is Frankie Peppers. How you doing?
How you doing?
How much money do you think Mr. Bacon had on the Yankees winning the game today? I know that the MLB is looking into that one pitch for throwing balls intentionally. I think the MLB might need to look into Mr. Bacon, the home plate umpire, on Sunday, because I don't know. I feel like you look at a few of those pitches and they look pretty Yankee friendly, we'll say. But you take a win over the Yankees anytime. Very happy with how Brandon Nimmo looks. Francisco Lindor's looking better. Juan Soto's looking beautiful as always. Pete Alonso, 2 home run day yesterday on Saturday. Things are looking up. It's nice. Things are looking up for me. I want to, again, say how much I appreciate everybody in the Mets world, sort of.
So that's the end of the first part?
Mm-hmm.
Said in the messages of love, it's been a week without my little baby, and I miss her so much. And the New York Mets and the Mets'd boys and the community's been really wonderful to me. So I appreciate you all. So I hope you're doing well, boys. Let's go, Mets. Make some bolognese. I'll talk to you soon. Take care, boys.
You take care as well, Frankie. Also,
just
shout out a lot of the people that we hung out with met. We did a little center field meetup before the game Saturday. Shout out to guy Sean for helping us set up the Discord. Link for that in description. Great community. We got chatter in that Discord every single day. Mets chatter, tons of it. Shout out to guy Mike that we met. Who else you
Mike
got?
Del Rio.
Mike Del Rio. We got Mike Del Rio. We got Chris.
Yeah, we got Chris.
Chris, incredible podcaster. We spent some time with him. He's sensational. If anyone out there speaks Spanish, you should listen to Chris's show. Nada Escuela.
No, Escuela de Nada.
Escuela de Nada. We told our Venezuelan friends. They were like, "You met him?" We were like, "Yep, sure did."
Like, he listens to your videos and podcasts. We're like, yeah. He's like, whoa.
Also, shout out to girls Nicole and Lauren. We actually do somehow have female listeners to this show. So all of you guys are the best. The Mets'd Up podcast is the preeminent women respecting podcast in the Mets community. We respect women. We respect every woman.
Of course, always respect them. And that's where we're going to end this episode. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd Up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Oh, I got one more.
Oh,
we owe the people a members only Q&A.
Yeah, we'll do something this week.
Thursday afternoon, could you do?
Yeah, Thursday afternoon. I like that.
Before the 1 o'clock game, 12:30?
Yeah, right before the 1 o'clock game. Perfect.
All
right.
Yeah,
and do we have anything else? What was I doing? I was doing the outro?
Yeah, we're doing the outro.
All right. You know, the Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, at Mets'd Up. Subscribe to the Mets'd Up Podcast YouTube channel if you have not yet done so. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download it, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James_Shiano.
Got a big thread coming out, so make sure you guys check them out. And you can follow me at Draft Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you all on the next episode. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. Let's go Mets.